Right, YouTube, the Shadow King Nazu, and I'm here with my review of Dragon Ball Super, episode 83. Excuse me. We start off the episode with Goku and the others coming back from from the Tournament of Power exhibition matches, and heading to Bulma's place, so they can make a strategy plan on how to form a team together for the actual Tournament of Power. Meanwhile, Chi-Chi had prepared for a feast because Bra was close to being born, but she hasn't been born yet, so it's kind of happened prematurely. So she asks Goku and Beerus if they can eat the food before it gets cold. Chi-Chi, you've been married to this man for decades. You should know that by now that Goku has a bottomless stomach. So meanwhile, while they're doing that, we see that the Pilaf gang are helping Bulma doing some birthing exercises by I forget what it's called, but they're basically just moving along these giant balls, which is supposed to help make the birth giving easier. And they're doing it in the gravity training room while Vegeta watches. And Vegeta basically saying that he's just watching this to make sure he lives up to his royal obligations, though some of them don't believe that. They think that Vegeta actually does care about Bra being born. And meanwhile, Vegeta says that if he's going to be doing this, he might as well start thinking of a same name worthy of the royal bloodline. So yeah, they haven't decided on the name yet. Back with Goku and the others, while they're eating, they start to consider what members they could put in. First, they consider Krillin, and they Gohan and Goku do an image battle of how Krillin would work against in the tournament, pitting him against Basil since they only fought Basil, Lavida, and Bergamo in the multiversal tournament, with the exception of Toppo, but we won't count that. And Basil was supposedly the weakest member of the of Universe 9's team that they showed so far. And they feel that he wouldn't do all too well. At very best, he would just get in a few cheap shots. And that's Gohan's estimation. Goku, on the other hand, feels that Krillin will be doing just fine because he's got some new powers, which he kind of does after we got that little mini arc where Krillin went off training with Goku in that Forest of Illusions, and they fought against illusions of their former enemies, and Krillin gained his self-confidence back, which helped give him a power boost. So maybe he can stand against Lavida. I don't think this will put him on par with make him as strong as Majin Buu, but maybe a little bit closer to that. Maybe serve as a medium between stronger than Lavida, not as strong as Buu. Of course, I could be wrong. He could be weaker than both, but still somehow able to defeat Lavida by tournament rules. Then they start considering Monaka, but Beerus is still holding on to the facade that Monaka is the strongest fighter that Beerus has ever fought, when we know in truth that Monaka is completely useless in a fight. So he just says that Monaka is too sick to fight for the tournament, and they should just forget about him. I think this is pretty much Toriyama's way of saying that we should just quietly bury any thought of Monaka being involved in any main story arc. To that I say, I'm already way ahead of you, Toriyama. And then Supreme Kai suggests that maybe they should feature Goten and Trunks, since they have a lot of potential despite their young ages. But Goku says that they wouldn't work out because they're too inexperienced and too straightforward, and that having raw power is not going to be all this cracked up to be for a battle royale. And then they consider Master Roshi instead, since he, despite his low power level, he does have a lot of experiences and a lot of useful techniques. Which brings me to what Kwaman's videos are kind of doing right now, is explaining how while the lesser members of the Z Fighters could probably still contribute to the tournament, which I normally don't do since I don't advertise people's videos during my videos, unlike a certain someone. But anyway, he did bring up some interesting points that despite some of the characters like Roshi or Tien not being as strong as people like Goku, Boo, Vegeta, and Gohan, and Piccolo, they can still help in some way, and they probably have tactics that would be advantageous during this tournament. And then Mr. Singh says that another good fighter would be Android 18, since they're playing the ring on Krillin. And said, yeah, they would agree with that idea. And Gohan suggests that since they're going to bring Android 18, they could ask her to get Android 17 and ask her where he is. So that in total gives them about 9 fighters when they get everything together, including Vegeta. And they had to figure out their 10th member, which, since we've seen the intros, is going to be Tien. And while that's happening, they try to ask Vegeta to contribute. Trying to entice him by saying that there's going to be 80 fighters in the Battle Royale, including Team Universe 7, which is our team. And Vegeta says he still can't go, not until the baby is born. And Vegeta starts to get suspicious as to wondering why Goku is so insistent that he join the tournament, because normally Goku would try to avoid having Vegeta participate so he could have all 70 fighters to himself. I gotta admit, that is pretty perceptive of Vegeta. He knows Goku rather well, most of the time. However, Beerus demands that Vegeta participate in the tournament, but Vegeta's hands are tied. He says not until the baby is born, otherwise Bulma will get pissed off at it. So Beerus has Whis do something about it, and it turns out that Whis, through his magic staff, can allow Bulma to have the baby early. Magic, it can solve all your problems. I'm not being sarcastic. Yeah, magic is something not to be trifled with. It's really handy. So yes, we've seen a lot of things that Whis can do. We could just add giving birth to babies early. No, we should have him do that more often with other people. The mortal level population would probably increase exponentially if he did that. Speaking about the mortal level, back when they were discussing what fighters they could bring, it turns out that the reason why the mortal level of Universe 7 is second from the bottom is because they only have 28 planets with mortals on them. So yeah, all the destruction caused by Boo, Beerus, and also Frieza, whatever. Yeah, all that has pretty much brought the mortal levels. I mean, the quantity of mortals down a bit. So yeah, they don't have a lot to work with. And Beerus chastises the Supreme Kai again for not doing his job on checking mortals and actually creating more to compensate for the losses. But, but, but back to where we were currently. Anyway, Gohan tries to tell Trunks that the baby has been born, and Goten asks whether or not the baby is a boy or girl. And Gohan admits that he kind of forgot to ask about that. Gohan, for the first time, I truly think that you are Goku's son. I'm kidding. I know Goku's no Gohan has a little bit more in common than absent-mindedness with Goku, but for the sake of it, let's go with that. And we get to see that Trunks doesn't know how to react to being a big brother now. He's actually has more of a preference to having a little brother than a little sister, because he feels that it would be easier to get her to train with him and act like a mentor to the baby. But they all come and meet Bra, and we see that to this funny bit where everybody tries to introduce themselves to Bra, and Vegeta starts to get slightly annoyed by this. And when Mr. Satan and Yamcha try to introduce themselves, Bra kind of gets, scared by them. And this caused Vegeta to get upset and turn Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. So that was a little bit of a funny bit. And I think it was Bulma's mom that asked had they chosen. No, it's Bulma's dad. Bulma's dad asked Bulma had they chosen a name, and Vegeta tries to say he's found the perfect name for her, but Bulma beats him to the punch and says that her name is Brawl. So Vegeta doesn't get to call her by a Saiyan name, which he was going with Echelot, which is I think that's a variation on onions, if I recall. But yeah, he ultimately concedes since it made Brawl happy to be called by that name. So Goku, having everything settled, decides to go off to recruit Krillin for the tournament. Meanwhile, Yamcha overhears about the tournament of power and feels that he should make a heroic entrance. So, to be like the 10th member of the multiversal tournament. Oh, Yamcha. Even after all these years, you still got an ego. And then the episode ends off with the tournament still being built and only 39 hours left before it begins. Wait, really? That was all done in an hour? Okay. Anyway, this episode didn't have a lot going, but it did have a nice character action. It was finally good to see Bra being born, so people can finally stop wondering when that happens. And yes, Bra is a canon character, as she was in the final chapters of the Dragon Ball Z manga, and was in the I believe the last episode of Dragon Ball Z Kai, which is airing on Toonami. Yes, I am watching those. Funimation's done a good job dubbing of those episodes, and along with the English episodes of Dragon Ball Super. And we also got to see that Vegeta, despite trying to have the tough act, that he does care to his family a bit. Albeit that I feel that he is telling the truth, that it's mostly due to his royal upbringing, where they have to care about the family bloodline. But it also is a mix of him being softened by his time on Earth and with his family. So yes, this was a nice bit of character development for Vegeta, as he was starting to show affection towards Brawl in his own sort of way, which is a nice contrast from Vegeta from the Cell and Buu saga, where Vegeta in the Buu Saga admitted that when Trunks was a baby, he never held him once and didn't give him the time of day until he was like